Community Radio, broadcasting on 106.2 FM and online.
Good evening. You are listening to the Winning Women Show, the show that puts trailblazing women center stage, celebrating their wins and uncovering the stories behind their success. I'm your host, Iram Shah, and today we've got not one, but two incredible guests from Jumped Up Theatre, sharing their journeys, passion, and the creative impact they have in the town. So first up, Kate Hall, who co-founded Jumped Up Theatre. But it's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? Jumped Up Theatre back in 1993. Over 3 decades, she's collaborated with some of the most iconic names in British theatre, from the Royal Shakespeare Company to the Manchester Royal Exchange, all while building Jumped Up into a powerhouse of creativity and community engagement. We also have Emily Steele-Diaz, participation producer at Jumped Up Theatre. Emily leads a new creatives program where 14 to 24-year-olds, so do keep watching because we have lots for your young children to be engaged with. And Emily will be collaborating with professional artists to explore different art forms and create projects that respond to the world around them. Welcome, Kate and Emily. I'm so thrilled to have you both here on Winning Women. Kate, let's start at the beginning. Oh, let's welcome them first. I think let's get hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Kate, and hello, Emily. Welcome to the Winning Women Show.
Hello, thanks for having us.
No problem at all. No problem at all. So, Kate, let's start at the beginning. Take us back to 1993. What inspired you and your fellow drama graduates to start Jumped Up Theatre?
Well, it was a sort of accident, really. My final year show got selected to go to the Edinburgh Festival. And I was asked, we had to come up with a name for a theatre company, and we had a week to do that. And so we sat around and we talked about what should we call ourselves, and it was all like black box theatre and all this sort of thing. And because I don't take myself very seriously, I came up with Jumped Up Theatre, and it's kind of been with me ever since.
And what did you and what exactly what's your experience in having a big theatre, coming from a big theatre experience there and running a smaller play, independent? What would you say to that?
So I was being really lucky. So Jumped Up was like at the beginning of my career, but it's still with me now. But during that time, I've also went off and was an education and associate director at the Royal Shakespeare Company. I worked for English Touring Theatre, Manchester Royal Exchange. So I was able to bring a lot of what I'd learned of how things work there and also expectations, but also bring it to Peterborough and just go, okay, what do you guys want? So the sort of plays that I used to do with the Royal Shakespeare Company are not the sort of work that we tour into Peterborough, because Peterborough wants stuff that looks like their world. So it's sort of, you can bring all those experiences together.
So what were some of those learnings?
I mean, when you're working for somewhere like the Royal Shakespeare Company, it's got big, they've really thought about how they're going to put something on. So you've got lots of really clear processes. It's very professional. And so we're often trying to do things in Peterborough, which is quite difficult, and nobody's ever done it before. But we have those professional structures and processes that we can apply, so we know what we're doing, basically. And even though sometimes it looks difficult, we know how to break tasks down to make them look possible.
And when you say some of those difficult things, I'm curious, what are they?
Well, sometimes it's about finding a venue, like finding a building where you can put something on. And quite often what we do is we're not in traditional theatres. We sometimes go to the Key Theatre, and we've got a show that will come to the Crescit in March. But we've been in community gardens, community centres, churches, all sorts of strange places. Just generally, we've been at the new university. We're doing a show at Peterborough College in their hall soon, and we have to. Our knowledge that we know about what you need technically, what you need to welcome the audience, what you need to keep safe to make people feel welcome. We kind of know all that from having been in professional spaces, and so we can bring those qualities to community spaces.
Fantastic. And just a reminder to the listeners here, we are on Salam Radio 106.2 FM on the Winning Women Show with Emily and Kate from the Jumped Up Theatre, and we are talking about how they are bringing this creative impact into the city here. So Kate, with your role, with your previous experiences, how have these roles influenced the direction and the ethos of Jumped Up Theatre?
Well, when Jumped Up started, and it was influenced by my degree, I was really passionate about women's stories. And I think that really shows still in what we do. I mean, the team's all female. Hasn't always been, but it is currently.
Oh, was that a conscious decision?
No, I just think it's the environment. I don't know. What would you say, Emily, about why it's all women?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess just women generally are maybe more interested in the kind of work we do, and yeah, I don't know.
I mean, we tend to have people who come and work with us who are positive, collaborative, and care about the community in Peterborough. And I think men are just as likely to be like that. And the arts it has got a lot of women who work in it as well. So we started off particularly telling women's stories, and then storytelling is always going to be part of what we do. So we have a kind of tagline currently that is changing. Peterborough's story is changing,
right?
And that we are part of that change. So that's been a big influence. I mean, I'm a theatre maker, so I'm all about stories. I like putting positive stories on stage. I used to joke that I didn't want to have just women's stories that are about them being victims.
Oh yeah.
I want to have stories which are about people being really positive. So we've got a show that's coming to Peterborough College in October, which is on a big national tour, and we've managed to persuade them to come to Peterborough, and it's called The Chaos Has Been and Will No Doubt Return, and it's about young people and them, not making some of the best choices in life, but actually it's quite a joyful piece because friendship and belief in each other means they get through it. So that's one of our sort of core values, is joy. So I think I've worked on lots of shows which are full of angst, but audiences, particularly now, I would say, want joy. And so that is like a core value that we carry through.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Would you agree, Emily? There's so much going on in the world right now. So the audience are probably looking for some form of entertainment, educational, and just something that really resonates with them. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, with the show Chaos that we're bringing in October, I went to go see it in London over the weekend, and it was absolutely brilliant. We brought some young people from Peterborough along to see it and to give their reviews and everything. And it was really wonderful just seeing how they reacted to it and how they got so excited about the idea of bringing that sort of story to Peterborough. And that really just, that's exactly why we do the sort of things that we do.
And what sort of age group do you think this will resonate with?
I think it probably sort of 14 to 20-year-olds, so kind of like later teen years. The characters in the show are all around 16, but I mean, as a 30-year-old, I also very much enjoyed it.
We were joking in the office that we can all remember the amazing summers. This summer between either your GCSEs and A-levels or just after your A-levels before you go on to whatever you're doing next. They're quite magical summers. And that's when this is set. It's like the young people going through this transition, and it's like on a particular night where there's a party. And I can remember, I told a story of my best friend and I, and having like that moment where you just go, this is the life kind of thing. And we agreed that every generation possibly has that moment, and it shapes your memories of being a young person in a place. And that's what I loved about this show. We all have different connections. I mean, the guys in the office were talking about a piece of music in it, and I didn't know what they were talking about.
For context, it was Sean Paul.
But I think if you've been young, you can connect with it, and you can, but also, I mean, I've got a young person who's about to go off to university, and I can connect with her transitions and the life changes that she's going through as well. So I think it's about putting those young people's voices front and foremost and their stories. And that's kind of where we are now. I think we told a lot of women's stories, Jumped Up told a lot of women's stories, and that's when I was directing the shows. And now we're programming other work to come to Peterborough, and we're really looking for stories that resonate with young people and get people to think about young people's experiences. And that's something we probably should all be thinking about.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to this. I will say one thing though, have you found that, I mean, one thing around the theatre is that it's not being accessible to everyone because of the price of the tickets. So how are you helping the local community, just make things a little bit more accessible financially?
I mean, we work in partnership quite a lot with various organisations in order to kind of help reduce the price of tickets. We do quite a lot of workshops and programmes for free for young people as well. but we often go to where people are at, and like Kate said, we don't often use traditional theatre spaces, which means we have a lot more control over how much things cost and the environment that people enter into, and making sure they get a really great welcome from the team, and just making sure that it's a really great experience for people.
We like to make sure that even though, and I say that with in speech marks, people go, I can't believe, what will they often say is, I can't believe something this good was in my local community centre or anything. I was like, so we did a show that was at the university centre that was at Sydney Opera House, so because it's a really good show. So Sydney Opera House deserves it, and so does Peterborough. But what we also do we often will do pay what you can ticket model. So our tickets for Chaos they start at £7, affordable and accessible.
Brilliant.
But then we ask people, standard ticket price, we say it's £12. But pay it forward is £17, and with the extra that we make on that supports our work with young people. Now, I think if you saw this show in London, I think it was like
it was £26 a ticket.
It was £26 a ticket. So, and we're doing it right on your doorstep. You don't even have to travel to London.
Great.
But we do understand that. And it's part of our responsibility, and why we're funded is to try and make sure the work is accessible to as many people as possible. So it's about physically taking it somewhere where you will find like hundreds of young people, but also financially making it so it's more accessible as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it. And where exactly is this promoted? Because where exactly do you market this?
Oh, all over. We have a very hard-working marketing team who have got it all over social media. It's on our website. They've sent it out to press. They've done all sorts with it. There's loads of brilliant videos from the cast and crew on our social media. But also like the college as well, they're bringing a lot of students along to it, and we're hoping that some schools will bring people along to it as well, so we're hoping to reach a rather large number of young people for it.
So we have a mailing list, and that generates an audience as well. People follow us on that, and then we also do we send out lots of information to schools and are inviting them, so we're sort of direct marketing as well. The world has changed in how you communicate with people, and so print doesn't really have the impact that it once had of having posts and stuff. We still will do posters and stuff sometimes, but really for shows and everything, it's really social media and marketing and getting other people to recommend it as well.
Yeah. No,
and we're also planning a whole range of stuff over at the college to get the students excited about it as well. So we've got workshops with a local artist, we've got artwork going up in the college, so it should be like a real event there.
Well, great. We're really looking forward to that. And how do you think this will help with the aspirations for the company's growth and impact in the coming years in Peterborough?
The way it works is it's kind of like a slow burn. So you never know what result's going to hit, but it's about being consistent. So fundamentally, you have to be consistent in quality, and that goes from how you welcome people and the work you're putting in front of people. And then there is also a consistency about keep offering and making offers out. So we did an event at the University Centre maybe about a year ago, actually, because I just remembered it was just getting cold. And I had some young people come up to me and they said, "Oh, do you remember us?" They were doing a degree at the University Centre. I said, "Do you remember us? I was in your Northern Soul project, which we did in 2021. And then and then this other young woman said, "Oh, and I did that workshop with that guy who did the beatboxing, and that was 2017 that we did that." So you kind of like build a relationship. You don't expect transformation for one project, but you build a relationship. And so we are getting a growing reputation for what we're delivering for young people, and that's becoming increasingly the focus of Jumped Up.
Yeah, great. And you mentioned also funding earlier as well. So who is supporting you in terms of...
So we're what's called a national portfolio organisation, and we became that in 2023. And I like to remind people that we are the first and only Peterborough-focused arts organisation fully funded. There are other arts organisations that are funded in Peterborough, but we are the only national portfolio organisation which is only working in Peterborough, so our sole focus is here. And so we applied for funding from the Arts Council, and we were very fortunate. There's only maybe about 400 in the country that are funded by the Arts Council. Then you have to get match funding as well. So we obviously get that by selling tickets, but we have a grant from Esme Fairbairn Foundation, which is particularly about working with young people. And then we also get grant funding from organisations like Hyde Housing Association. The NHS is funding another project that we've got coming up. So it becomes a bit of a patchwork of what you're doing. So.
Yeah, and people that have got an interest in Peterborough and the youth as well.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of young people in the city and they have a lot of very diverse needs. And we believe that we're trying to create some change for those young people.
And when you say diverse needs, what kind of diverse needs have you come across?
Well, I don't know, what would you say? Because you work a lot with young people, Emily. What's the full breadth?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I find a lot with young people that they feel sort of that there isn't much for them in the city, that they feel like maybe they're not quite sure what's available to them, or they're a little bit lost in a way.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And a lot of young people that end up coming to work with us, particularly on our New Creatives programme, end up sort of working with us to kind of boost their confidence, to gain new friends, make new social connections, work with professional artists, and it helps kind of like put them on track to something else, even if it's not in the arts. Sometimes it boosts their confidence enough to get a job, or maybe go on to other education or something like that. So sometimes the young people in Peterborough that we come across just need a little bit of a helping hand to move on to their next stage after education in particular.
Yeah.
And you also get those young people who kind of know what they want to do but don't believe it could happen for them in Peterborough. So we give them the opportunities that they think they'd have to leave Peterborough to get. And we're like, no, you can actually do that here. In fact, it's a great place to do stuff. So we've got a new group that will be starting soon, which is about reviewing arts and culture, not just theatre, but like podcasting or doing radio shows, or we don't mind what they're doing, but we're just like expressing that, like being reviewers, being journalists, talking about what they like doing in their leisure time. And we're bringing in a professional journalist who will work with them to like shape their voice, and it's to say you can do some of that here, and actually then Peterborough benefits from their aspiration. So you get that full range of young people, because once you've built their confidence, you want them to give them a reason to sort of like put something back. And I think that's my favourite thing, is when young people turn around and go, I love my city now because of what I've done here.
That's lovely. That's very nice. And I just want to share my experiences. My children, I've actually, one of the out of school interests that I've put them into is drama. They've done school plays, but also Lambda exams as well. And what I found was they're not very musically inclined, but it's really helped them express themselves. And my son Mustafa said, "Mama, I actually feel brave on the football field. When he's got a goal, he can now scream and shout, because he was very shy earlier." So I feel like for children that are very shy, it takes a bit of time, but like you said, with consistency, it just gives them the confidence and a stage to articulate themselves, express themselves.
And it grows their empathy, because often you'll be exploring somebody else's story and have to listen to with someone else. I mean, there are statistics that show doing arts and culture will improve your life chances. So disadvantaged young people who are regularly involved in the arts are 3 times more likely to go to university.
Oh, is that right?
That is a fact. There's an organisation called the Cultural Learning Alliance who does research into this sort of thing. You're more likely to volunteer, you're more likely to vote, you're more likely to be in a stable relationship, you're more likely to succeed in maths and English. So it is about creating a fully rounded human being. That's why you do the arts, because that's what makes us human. And so by getting involved in that sort of thing, young people's aspirations, their life opportunities open up. So it starts with confidence, and it could end up with leadership. So it can go all sorts of directions.
And when we say the arts, just to give you as somebody who's not really very creative or not quite explored this area, what would you say, what the breadth of like the arts, what does it involve?
I mean, even just in terms of a small slice of what the arts can be is our new creatives programme. So we've been running that since 2021 for sort of 16 to 24-year-olds, and we've just dropped it down to 14 to 24-year-olds. But even since 2021, we've done a film, we've done a digital zine, we've done a poster campaign, we've done an exhibition, we've done drama games, we've done all sorts of different things. The arts can mean so many different things, focusing on so many different themes, because that has covered the environment, thinking about failure, thinking about identity, thinking about even like citywide issues such as like homelessness and things like that. So there's so many different ways that the arts can be used to kind of look at different themes, and so many different ways you can sort of creatively look at different things.
And if you consume the arts, you are creative, because if you read a book, your imagination is thinking about what's going on. Or if you listen to music and you've got taste in music, like, I like that music, I don't like that music, you are making a creative choice. You don't have to be winning an Oscar to be creative or painting a picture. You just need to be moving in that world, and you are being creative. And really, everyone makes those choices through their life. I mean, just how you dress or how you decorate your home, you're making creative choices. And when people say, oh, I'm not creative, I'll just go, oh, do you not live and breathe? Do you not think about how your food is displayed? Do you not have a preference of, would you buy that colour car or that colour? Something is happening in your brain which is creative, and you do apply those throughout your daily life. You sing to your children. You're being creative because you're telling a story and you're engaging with them. And I think there's something about, that's one thing we're really interested in doing, is really we use theatre to give people access to their creativity. And it's not just you're a participant, I'm an artist. It's like we're making this together is something that's really important to us.
And you help draw out their creativity.
Or celebrate what is there.
Yeah.
And encourage them. I mean, Emily did this project called Style Stories, which was about people's relationship with their clothes. And it was really about the environment and not about sort of like not the opposite of fast fashion. And a lot of people were expressing their creativity through their clothes. I mean, you've got lots of great stories.
I do that.
Yeah, exactly. It's something that we all make choices about every single day, what we wear. And, a lot of what we wear says something about how we want to be seen in the world, or says something about our identity. And we got over 200 stories because it was something that people were really happy to talk about as well, that maybe they didn't think was an exciting story, but it always was.
Yeah.
And it said so much about them, and what they'd kept for a long time, or what was their favourite item of clothing, or something they'd passed down, or something like that. And we collected all those stories, and then the young people we were working with selected some of them to take part in a photo shoot. And then the stories and the photos and even some of the clothes were displayed in Queensgate as an exhibition this time last year, actually.
Because you had somebody who had their baby clothes.
Yes, who still had their baby clothes.
And then somebody else, and her dad had been maybe to Nigeria or somewhere and bought some special material to make a dress for a wedding, and her mum and her had matching outfits, and that was something, it told a story of their personality. And there was somebody with band t-shirts, and their daughter had the same similar band t-shirts,
like 20 years apart.
and there was a guy who had the had a game or something,
a video game from the 1980s that his son was now really into, and now wore the t-shirt, and we're still way too big for him, but it was he loved it.
And I think you communicate through creativity as well, and it can be you just communicate within your family.
Yes.
I mean, we love dancing. That's a thing that Jumped Up's got into a lot, and I just will often say to people, do you dance in your kitchen? And they're like, yes. And they're like, okay, you should be involved in one of our projects. And that's where I bring you back to the thing about joy then, and that's what we often find, is that when people are having that opportunity to acknowledge their creativity and share it with their families, especially across generations, you hit that joy moment, and it's really lovely.
Yeah, and it's very empowering as well, because I find that with creativity, especially, it's a form of expression, and you feel confident in your own skin when you're able to make a choice, aren't you, with your creative choices. So Emily, just coming on to you, with when you've got all these different projects and things, how do you decide the mode of delivery? Like, is it going to be photography this time? Is it going to be, how do you decide that?
So it's actually chosen by the young people. So when it comes to the New Creatives Programme, what we've started doing in recent years is literally just putting a few different artists in front of them and going, well, which one do you want to do?
Right.
So, for example, this year we're doing a mix of, we've got rap, we've got theatre, we've got storytelling, we've got songwriting. So they're going to go try them all out and then let us know which one they want to do. But yeah, it's always very led by the young people what we do. I mean, before we did that format, when we did Style Stories, we knew that they wanted to do the environment, so we sort of interrogated that a bit more, and fashion was something they felt like they had control over, because so much of environmental action they felt like, well, that's my parents or that's my school or something like that, whereas fashion was something they made decisions about. And so we got a professional storyteller to come in and work with them on that and decide what they found interesting about it, and then we just kind of took it from there, and we were like, how can we take these stories and show them publicly? And that's where the photos came from. So it's always led by the young people with just like a bit of support from us.
Great. Well, we're going to talk about this more so. We're on the Winning Women show on Salam Radio 106.2 FM. We will be going on to a break, and after the break there will be an Adhan prayer, so Adhan call, so do come back and stay tuned, because we have Emily and Kate with us from the Jumped Up Theatre and telling us how our young children in Peterborough can get involved. Thank you.
Stay tuned to Salam Radio after this short ad break.
Could you spare a few hours each month to provide support to people who are going through tough times? If so, Peterborough Samaritans are looking for volunteers who are empathetic and open-minded, and we'd love to hear from you. We run regular information sessions where you can find out more about what it means to volunteer for Samaritans. If you are at least 18 years of age and would like to know more, please email volunteer@peterboroughsamaritans.co.uk.
Mirage Wedding and Catering Services have everything to make your special day, party or celebration one to remember for all the right reasons. As well as quality catering, freshly made with seasonal produce, Mirage supply stages, lighting and house lights, decor and marquees, Chibari chairs and table hire, attentive staff, supercars and so much more. Call 07860 125 092 or visit MirageWeddingsUK.com. Also across all social media. Mirage, making every wedding better.
Busy Bunnies Nurseries is where children grow and thrive. It's where your little ones will enjoy expert care, engaging activities and a warm, welcoming environment. Busy Bunnies Nurseries also provide great learning experiences in exceptional indoor and outdoor settings. So when looking for a loving, fun and safe place for your child, visit at 627 Lincoln Road, Peterborough, now with additional parking, or online at busybunniesnurseries.co.uk. Call 01733 897799 to book your visit today. Busy Bunnies Nurseries, where children hop into a brighter future.
Craving top quality fried and grilled chicken without the high price tag? At Sam's, we make every bite unforgettable. From juicy chicken to mouth-watering burgers, taste why we're the best in town. Visit us at our brand new restaurant at 33 Westgate in the city centre, or our second spot on Lincoln Road. Prefer delivery? We're on Just Eat, Uber Eats and Deliveroo. Sam's, serving up amazing chicken across the UK for over 30 years.
Ayada Care Limited provide quality and compassionate care at home support services, respecting the cultural, linguistic and religious backgrounds of those we care for. We find out exactly what our clients need, then match our trained Ayada staff to meet their personalised yet affordable care plans, promoting independence and mental health well-being. Call 01733 666 801 to speak with registered manager Iqbal Manji, or visit ayadacare.co.uk for details.
There's simply a variety of choice at Chicken Valley, 318 Lincoln Road, and we don't just mean whether you dine in or order for takeaway or delivery, with halal dishes including peri-peri chicken, wings, strips and wraps, Korean burgers, sides, milkshakes and so much more. You'll have to experience Chicken Valley again and again and again. Open 11 a.m. until late, every day of the week. Order delivery via Just Eat, Uber or Food Hub, or for collection call Chicken Valley on 01733 564 053.
For family fun with a difference, visit the Q Club, Cowgate in Peterborough, and enjoy snooker, pool and darts, simulators and more. Plus, the Q Club serves quality food, delicious desserts and refreshing drinks in the heated Smoke and Mirrors garden. Open from 4:30 until midnight each Tuesday to Thursday, and with extended hours Fridays and Saturdays. Follow the Q Club on Instagram and Facebook, or just drop in PE1 1LZ. Call 01733 913 607.
You're listening to Peterborough's community radio, Salam Radio. Salam Radio.
Good evening.
106.2 FM.
Good evening. You are listening to the Winning Women Show, the show that puts trailblazing women centre stage, celebrating their wins and uncovering the stories behind their success. I'm your host, Evam Shah, and today we've got not one but two incredible guests from Jumped Up Theatre, sharing their journeys, passion, and the creative impact they're having on in the city here. We've got Kate Hall with us and Emily Steele Diaz. We've been talking about the Jumped Up Theatre and what it's been doing for the town. Now, we were just sort of touching on how to make theatre more accessible for young people and the costs, etc. as well. One thing I think for me was very exciting that we just mentioned in the first half of the show is if something's playing in a bigger city like London and now it's showing in Peterborough, that's amazing.
Oh yeah, we only bring the best to Peterborough. So I mean,
well, we deserve the best.
Yeah, Peterborough deserves the best. So the chaos that has been and will no doubt return is on at the Southwark Theatre near the South Bank. And like you said, that was £26 per ticket. We have a show that's will be coming to the Cresset in March, and it's a hip hop beatbox version of Pied Piper of Hamelin, and so it's for the slightly younger crowd. And their last show won an Olivier, which is like an Oscar in British theatre. It's that was Frankenstein, the making of a monster, and I know their work because we've partnered with a theatre in London called Battersea Arts Centre, and that's why they've agreed to come, because they trust us, and it's the absolute best theatre. And so we understand. I mean, I know that it costs a lot of money to go to see shows in London. It's the travel, and you get a coffee, and then the ticket costs. So but we're trying to also bring the type of shows that wouldn't normally make it here, and that's why we're funded, that's why we're supported.
Oh, great. Well, you can get involved by texting into the show. If you're watching on YouTube, do text on the phone on the show and let me know what questions you've got, because this is very exciting. Now also I would say, Emily, you were saying earlier you work with a lot of young people and the children get to choose the type of art that they would like to get involved in. What inspires your projects? Is it things that are happening around the town? What is it that inspires your projects?
So for the last couple of years, the New Creatives has had an environmental focus, partly because obviously the environment is such an important topic, especially right now, but also it's something that we noticed that a lot of young people we were working with prior to that were feeling a bit powerless about, and feeling like it was so big that it was something that they were just like, well, I'm just not going to think about it. And I guess the positives of that is that we're like, okay, well, here's lots of different ways you can approach it with different arts and different ways you can sort of raise awareness or create change or like spark conversation. And also because it's so big, there are so many different topics within that. So like, we've done fast fashion. Most recently, we did something called Eco Games, which was about sort of breaking down what climate change actually is, but with fun games like a very silly quiz called It's Literally Rubbish. Pause for the groan. And also like a choices themed snakes and ladders and all sorts of things, which we've just released as a free digital toolkit on our website for schools and youth groups and things. So, and this year as well, we will also have an environmental focus, but we've no idea what that is because it's still so big.
It is very big. And I'll just touch on what you've just said. It makes you feel as if you are part of the change. Sometimes we feel as if we alone cannot do this, but when collectively you take one, what would you say to that, Emily?
Yeah, I mean, it takes, all of us to do something when it comes to something as big as the environment. And we've heard from the young people we work with that they've come away and they've made small changes, or they've spoken to their schools, or they've spoken to their parents or their peers about the environment in a way that they wouldn't have done otherwise.
And that's another one of our themes. So we talked about joy being one of our themes. The second one I would say is agency. And I sort of like to say to people, you have agency, you can create change. It's not about them, whoever them are, creating the change. You can create change for yourself, for your community. And so that's often the conversations that we have. And that's why it becomes inspiring for young people, because they go, this can happen in Peterborough, right? Yeah, because you're going to make it. And we're not the only project that does it, but I think it is a really good value to sort of like build into what we're thinking about, what we're doing. So we'll often, have a stop with the project. At some point, we just finished a load of conversations about dance in the city, about what people wanted. And the answers weren't what we thought they were going to be. So we've had to go, okay, how are we going to do that differently? And that sort of thing. I think that's really important to do.
And I think, Emily, with you leading this, where have your own experience, how did you get into working with young people and communities in theatre in the first place? Because you seem to bring such a diverse range of experiences.
So, I mean, I was born in Peterborough. I grew up here, feeling like there was nothing for me here. So went off to university, came back and sort of fell into working in the arts here, which I wasn't expecting but love. I started working for Jumped Up Theatre in 2021 with our first project, which was called Fierce Talent, which was getting young people to celebrate their own creativity and that of the creativity that they see in the city through making a film that then went to a festival in London, and we worked with this amazing group of young people on it.
Okay.
You're listening to Salam Radio, and it's now time for Maghrib Azan. This Azan is sponsored by Children of Adam, changing lives in Peterborough and across the world since 2013. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على حي على الفلاح حي على الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. This dua is sponsored by Chicken Valley, flavour that rules the roost.
الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة وابعثه مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته اللهم آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار اللهم بك نحيا وبك نموت وإليك المصير رضينا بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم نبيا ورسولا.
Good evening. Welcome to the Winning Women Show. Thank you for bearing with us for the Adhan prayer. We do have with us Emily and Kate from the Jumped Up Theatre. We were just talking about the fantastic things coming up in the city for 14 to 24-year-olds. Emily was telling us about some of her experiences that have shaped what the projects that she will be introducing in the cities. I got a little bit thrown off over that break. So what I was going to ask you was the difference. We were talking about this, the new creators program, which is gearing up for another round. But then you've also got Creators Spark. What's the difference between that?
So sure, I can tell you what New Creatives is, and I'll pass to Kate for Creative Spark. So New Creatives is a programme that runs annually, sort of October to May time. Young people can sign up for a term at a time. They get to work with each other and professional artists to create a project about something that they are passionate about, and then it gets shared publicly at events, maybe online. It sort of depends what it is, because it's all very led by the young people. And Creative Spark is...
So Creative Spark is more for people who are running arts organisations or who work with young people, but also young people are welcome to come. And it's about encouraging more collaboration across the city between organisations that are working with young people, maybe improving practice. So we've basically, it's like a mini conference. So we had a conference in March where we had sort of over 40 people come. I was aiming for 20, so I was really pleased with 40. And we had an inspirational speaker, and there was lots of sharing of good practice. And then we have another event in October, because we like to keep busy. And that is going to be looking at how you can centre young people in your planning and what you do. And it's about centering their care, centering their thoughts and ideas. And so we'll have some young people who they'll get some training on how to do a speech about why the arts is important to them. And there'll be some young people making some films about what inspires them about the arts, but then also the grown-ups or the leaders in the room will also be challenged about how are you really centering young people and young people's experience in what you're doing. So it's kind of like we do the work with the young people, like on the ground, but we're also we want to lead. It's a leadership role in the city and inspiring, and also we're also open really to ideas about what the Creative Spark can do, and that's part of our funding, is to like bring the sector together. So if you're a teacher, if you're an artist or a youth leader or community leader who's interested in reaching young people, everybody's welcome. It's free to attend, and everyone's welcome to sort of like come along.
And how can people find out?
They just need to go on the Jumped Up website, sign up for the mailing list, and we'll be keeping them informed as to what's going on.
And just let us know what the website is.
So it's jumpeduptheatre.com, and we've got an entire page on there called Youth Programmes, and that's got the entire list of everything available for young people in the city. And
then your programme, the New Creatives, that is coming up in October. Tell us a bit more about that, Emily.
Yeah, so it kicks off on the 8th of October with 4 different workshops from 4 different artists. We're currently looking for 14 to 24-year-olds to join. There's 2 different pathways. So 14 to 19-year-olds can become new creatives, and then 19 to 24-year-olds can apply to become young leaders, which is more of a supportive role. You still get to do all the same sort of workshops and everything, but you'll be sort of expected to support the younger participants as well.
And Emily, do you think the arts, you've got quite a good range of diversity in the city, but do you think in terms of gender that you attract more girls than boys?
I think we probably do, but we do still have different genders in all our programs. So we have different genders in New Creatives. We have different genders in our Shimak Bollywood dance classes. So I think we do attract a broad range. Maybe in New Creatives it does tend to be more young women, but we're open regardless.
Yeah. And the dance programs that you just touched on, Shimak Bollywood, just tell us a little bit more about that.
Oh, it's so much fun. We've been doing that for, I don't know, maybe 3 years now. And they work with a professional instructor trained by Shimak Devar himself, who was a Bollywood choreographer. And they work together as a group. We generally have sort of between 15 and 18 people in it, ranging from age 12 all the way to sort of in their 50s. And they work together to create a performance that then is at the Midlands Showcase, which most recently was in Coventry, but they always perform at Peterborough Celebrates and different sort of events in the city as well. And it's always so much fun and very sparkly.
Oh, great. Well, if you like a bit of Bollywood dance, and do get in touch with Jumped Up Theatre. Who knows, you could be performing in something in the city, and would love, and that really fosters inclusivity, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a pretty broad range of people who take part in it, and everyone's really welcoming and really warm. And it's fine if you have no experience. It's fine if you feel like you can't dance. I promise you can, for one. But I mean, I myself take part in them as well early on, and it is a lot of fun. It's very welcoming, and you'll just get walked through everything very slowly, so don't worry.
And Emily, what would you say also to people? There might be some people that are listening in who don't want to do anything musical. It could be for faith purposes, or it could just be like my boys who just are not musically inclined. They just don't like singing and dancing. What do you have to offer for to someone who's not wanting to do something musical?
I mean, the good thing about New Creatives is that the young people choose the artist that they work with. So if young people who come along to that aren't particularly interested in music for whatever reason, or dance, they simply just don't choose that artist, and they can choose something else moving forward. What else we have available is our Young Reviewers group, which we're launching at the moment, which will be about getting young people to come along to events, or thinking about something they like maybe on Netflix or something like that, and sharing their opinion with the world about what excites them, what interests them. So that would be another pathway as well.
And how would they share those opinions?
So they'll work with professional journalists as well as our Jumped Up team. So it will go on social media, it will go on blog. It sort of depends how you do it, if it's written or if it's a TikTok or a podcast, or it's sort of up to them how they want to explore it.
That sounds very exciting.
Yeah, we're really lucky. There's a journalist called Maddie Costa, who used to be a reviewer for The Guardian, and we know her through another project. And we were talking about doing this, and I just went, I wonder if Maddie would support the group. Rang her up. She said, absolutely, sounds great, can't wait. I loved working with your young people before. And so she's going to be, those sessions will be online. She might come up to Peterborough at some point, I think. And then Jen, who is, it's her project, she'll be leading it. She's just graduated, and she did a lot of theatre reviewing when she was in Manchester. So it's a real passion of hers. But you don't have to be into theatre. It could be, we're as interested in young people saying, I really like this online game platform that I do, or I'm really mad about these type of books or films. We just want young people to sort of tell Peterborough what they're interested in.
So those video games might actually come into...
Yes, I'm doing my homework, Mum. I'm playing a video game. Yes, it will absolutely be that.
Please, parents and teachers and leaders that are listening in, get your children involved in this. This sounds fantastic. I've got 3 boys myself, and I'm going to definitely push them forward onto this. So just tell the audience again, how can people find out more?
So you can follow us on social media, on Facebook and Instagram, which is at Jumped Up Theatre. Our website is jumpeduptheatre.com, and you can sign up to our mailing list on jumpeduptheatre.com as well.
Great. Well, thank you very much. People, if you've just joined us, you can watch back on the replay on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and do send some questions. And I don't know if we've got any. The team are probably checking up on that. But do let us know if you've got any questions. I wanted to ask, this is called the Winning Women Show, and we've just, Kate and Emily have just shared some very incredible journeys and the work that they're doing at Jumped Up Theatre. What I'd like to know is, what advice would you give to your younger self if you, whether it's starting an initiative like this or doing something creative, what advice would you give yourself?
I think something about being kind to yourself, and that includes like taking a break. I'm a bit of a ferocious workaholic, and actually Emily's really good at telling me just to calm down and take a break. And I would say that's a really important thing, because you find like rest and relief, and that brings you back fresher. So don't beat yourself up if you're not like you're not winning everything, you're not brilliant at everything. Do it at your own pace, and just make sure that if it's important to you, it will be important to someone else, but be kind to yourself as you go through it.
Oh, we all need a bit of kindness. Your own. I think we can be so self-critical at times, so we have to be. That's brilliant advice. Thank you. And Emily, what about yourself?
I was having a think about this, and I think probably be a little bit less afraid of failure. Maybe take a few more risks and be okay with maybe things not working out exactly the way you hoped, because you'll always learn something from it. So yeah, I think just being slightly less scared of failure.
Yeah, and actually both these things apply to me as well. I can be so self-critical, and even if you've joined the Winning Women Show, if you've been listening for a number of years before, I've had a bit of a break, so I've come back. I was dead nervous. So if you've been watching, if you're listening, thank you very much for supporting the show. It is a community radio show, and we do like to bring in the things that are impacting the city, the things that are helping the people here in Peterborough. So thank you very much for listening, and thank you very much for our hosts as well. I'd like to know, the show's called Winning Women, so what does winning mean to you? What's a winning woman to you in your work and in your life?
I think it's when we see someone who we've worked with and we've had a great time with, and we see them really flourish. So one of our new creatives, she worked on the homelessness project, and she worked with a spoken word artist, and one of her pieces, because they did the spoken word, they wrote poems and then they sort of illustrated them, and her piece ended up in an exhibition at the Serpentine.
And it was the
Saatchi Gallery. Yeah. And there was something really like, you did that without us.
Yeah.
And actually I really like that. And like, we have another young person who was another new creative, and she's a massive force in the city now, and you sort of look at her and go, so almost like gets to the point where they don't need us anymore.
Yeah.
I would get really, really proud of that. So I think that's winning.
And was she working with you for a while?
Yeah, both those young women worked with us for a while. So we revel in other people's success, I think is how I describe it.
Oh, fantastic. And Emily, what about yourself?
For me, I think the biggest sort of win I've probably had recently was our Community Dance Day, which we did back in March. It was such an incredible day, and I think constantly hearing, I didn't know Peterborough could be like this. I've never seen something like this in Peterborough, and just creating something that makes people feel a lot of pride about where they live, and makes them want to be here and to engage in the arts here. That's probably what winning feels like for me.
Yeah, and contributing to everything that's being offered. Also, before we go, some of the artists that you're working with, tell us a little bit more about the artists that have been involved, because I know you've got some very exciting people.
Yeah, oh gosh, where do I start? In terms of new creatives, we've got Mixie coming, who is a local rap artist. We've got Louise Garwood, who is a local theatre maker, and we also have a couple of artists from further afield. But we also have really great sort of national artists coming to the city, both with our show Chaos, but also with the Beatbox Academy with Pied Piper. But we work with so many different artists, including the people who run Shimak, various dance projects we do. We're really lucky to get to work with some really incredible people.
At the end of the year, we have to send out a survey to all the artists that we work for, and we often go, I can't believe we work with like 75 different artists. But and they become sort of part of our family. And what's really lovely is sometimes we'll then hear from other artists and they say, oh, I know someone who worked with you and they had a really great time.
Yeah.
And that, I think that's winning as well, because you know that, and often they have a great time because they have a great time with people in Peterborough. So the show we did, Tragedy, in June, the artists, they were from Germany, and the kids were so brilliant. They were from Thomas Deacon Academy, and they came to see the show, and they were so engaged, they were so lively in the show, and the artists were like, that was brilliant, and they go away and tell people that Peterborough's brilliant.
Yeah.
Do they?
So that's always good.
Well, that's what you want, isn't it? Word of mouth, and that brings in more artists, more ideas. And what do you see in the future for the Jump Theatre?
Well, I guess we're obviously hoping to keep sort of growing, reaching more people, doing fun, exciting things, expanding things such as like our community dance day into a bigger festival, working with more young people. But really, we don't know, because it depends what the young people want to see. That's what constantly shapes everything we do. So we'll just keep having those conversations.
And in terms of joining in October, the initiative, is this free?
Yeah.
Yeah. How many free fun things do we get to do in the city? Like, this is amazing. Do reach out to Emily and Kate on for the Jumped Up Theatre. Just remind people of how they can find you.
Yeah, so it's at Jumped Up Theatre on Instagram and Facebook, and jumpeduptheatre.com is our website where you can find all our programmes and also sign up to our mailing list to be first to hear about everything.
Great. Well, on the Winning Women show, this is a show that's, if you've just joined us, you can listen back on the replay. You can engage with the show by commenting below. You can watch back on replay if you've missed parts of the show. Do check out our guests. Do check out their Jumped Up Theatre. We will be, the show we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. So every fortnight I'll be bringing somebody new to you, more winning women. But for today, we've got Kate and Emily sharing their incredible journeys and the inspiring work that Jumped Up Theatre is doing here in the city. Remember, keep shining, keep creating, keep winning, and we'll really look forward to seeing you next time. Jump Up Theatre, and just give that another shout out. It's been a cornerstone of Peterborough's cultural landscape. Creative Spark is that new initiative bringing together artists, educators, community leaders. Any last few words, Emily and Kate?
Just come and dance with us, come and watch plays with us.
Yeah, come have fun with us. We've got loads of cool stuff going on.
And come and help. Peterborough's story can't change unless you're part of it. So the door is open for everyone to come and join us doing that.
Yeah, definitely. The Winning Women show is signing off. So that's all for today. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you very much for being with us. Good night.
Stay tuned.